often the big cities and the places with the largest populations that get the most attention. This week, we're turning our attention elsewhere, to places like this.
There are a lot of emergency medicine departments that don't have obstetrics available.
The issues facing people in rural America, the work being done to close the gap in addiction care, and the new push for inclusion in an industry that is critical to many rural communities. This is The Race. Right now we're driving through rural Rifle, Colorado, which is a community in the western part of this state. For those who had to drop out of high school, they can face a lifetime of challenges when it comes to low wages and unemployment. Last year here in Colorado, the number of students who dropped out of high school increased. And we're on our way to a college to talk to people there about a new push to help adults complete their high school education. First question, it's an easy one. Can you just say your first and last name so I have it correct? Carolina Caballero doesn't often have time to sit and chat like she did for us.
My work is really hard.
Right now? Every day she cleans 2 houses, many times by herself. She told me her job isn't her favorite. But since she moved to Western Colorado in 2006 from El Salvador and doesn't have a high school degree, it's the best way to provide for herself and her 2 children. What options are out there without the diploma?
Not much. It's really hard because you had to start a new life, new people, the language.
You may expect the road to the American dream to have hurdles, but for those like Carolina who don't have a high school diploma, they can be roadblocks. As the head of a college program that helps adults with their education, Dwenna Holden sees that firsthand.
The pandemic was particularly difficult for our rural mountain communities, especially historically marginalized communities. So our Hispanic communities, our Latino communities were especially hard hit.
Dwenna runs the adult education program at Colorado Mountain College, where Carolina is taking classes. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, people who didn't graduate high school make roughly $180 less a week than those who are in the workplace with just a high school diploma. Money that could be the difference in the ability to pay rent or buy food.
Many of my students had to go to work for their families and support their families, and that, our traditional high school system isn't set up so that kids can have full-time jobs and work.
Dwenna told me there isn't much of a difference between the value of a GED and an official high school diploma, but there is when it comes to cost. The cost of an adult high school diploma course is $60 and takes 16 weeks, while a student needs to pass multiple tests to get a GED, which in Colorado costs $150.
A GED can take years to get, but the adult high school diploma program often takes students just a semester.
Right now, Dwenna's college needs to work with the local school district to issue high school diplomas. A bill making its way through the Colorado legislature would give colleges like hers the ability to issue them on their own, which she says would be more efficient. Many states are trying to improve adult education access. This year, Missouri launched a program where adults can earn their high school degree online for free.
I think that there's sort of this forgotten pocket of students. I think that no matter the age, people should have access to education.
Before this, I'm feeling stuck. Oh, this is my life, this is what I have to do, and I feel lazy. And not do more for me in my education. But one day I say, no, I have to do it. I have to finish.
Not only does Carolina spend hours a day cleaning homes, but she says after her kids go to bed each night, she spends an hour and a half studying. She plans to get her high school diploma in May. I see the graduation gown up on the wall. When you see it and you think about how close you are to that diploma.
Oh my God.
What does it mean to you?
Happy and proud myself too.
She says she'll be one step closer to her dream of becoming a teacher, and an example of why, even when it seems like a hurdle is too big, it's important to find a way through it.
My passion comes from I hate seeing people dead. It's not use or don't use, it's not clean or dirty, it's torment or relief. This person is desperate, and if they don't get healthy connections, what makes life worth living? Well, being loved for who you are and feeling loved, and nothing replaces that.
Dr. Alan Bollinger has dedicated his career to helping people not only to overcome their addictions, but to feel safe in their own skin.
When you look at a lot of these people, they've been horribly abused from the time that any time that they can remember. So who is safe? And if you don't teach people how to identify the things that need to be there to be in a safe relationship, then you build a wall to protect yourself. At the same time, the wall that you built to feel safe guarantees you never will be because you're alone.
He's what is called a MAT provider at this primary healthcare clinic in Urbandale, Iowa. MAT stands for Medication-Assisted Treatment, and he uses a combination of counseling and buprenorphine to treat people who come into his care living with addiction.
If you look at the way people are treated in general for their addictions, a lot of times it's stigmatized and the focus is on the behavior rather than on the person. And that makes it difficult to get well.
My name is Allison Lynch. I'm a psychiatrist, family physician, and addiction medicine specialist at the University of Iowa. Like the rest of the country, we have seen more opioid use and more overdose related to opioids over the last 20 years. And we're also, like the rest of the country, seeing fentanyl in more than just the opioid drug supply.
The University of Iowa has played an important role training providers across the state how to prescribe buprenorphine, using nearly $4 million from the state share of the opioid settlement money to do so. They've trained 250 prescribers in the eastern part of the state and 100 plus more med students. However, one of the biggest hurdles is helping rural healthcare providers overcome the stigma of using this medication.
Buprenorphine is an opioid, and it works like other opioids by activating the opioid receptor, but it attaches, but it only partially activates it. They don't have to worry about finding another opioid. They don't have to worry about cravings. They don't have to worry about going into withdrawal.
The progress being made, though, is measurable. According to a study from the University of Washington, 40% of rural counties had at least one prescriber of buprenorphine in 2016. By 2020, that number increased to 63%. The federal government is putting money into. Last September, the Health Resources Services Administration announced $104 million going to rural communities to combat the opioid epidemic, including $10 million for MAT programs.
Anything that's illegal, it's easy to judge that, and it's really easy to judge people who are engaging in an activity that is viewed as illegal, which is totally different than looking at somebody who has a health condition, who's having symptoms of their health condition.
Still, the daily work of changing minds in rural America continues. Dr. Bollinger hopes that, along with the dollars coming in, people change their attitudes toward addiction and find more compassion for those in pain.
The mental health crisis, the substance abuse crisis, they're the same thing, okay? And the truth is, there's one crisis, and those two things are symptoms. The real crisis is relationship crisis.
Vanessa Mashanya, Scripps News, Urbandale, Iowa.
The race continues next.